Welcome to the forefront of transformation. MSP+OS launched with a promise. Today, we deliver on that promise. Every day, every project. We're not just consultants. We are creators, innovators, leaders. Our journey has just begun, but our impact resonates. Together, we've turned challenges into opportunities and visions into realities. Now, we're ready to take the next leap, to amplify our reach, to elevate our game. This is MSP+OS. Visionaries, unite. Innovators, ignite. Leaders, let's conquer the new era of IT solutions. The future isn't waiting, neither are we. The live stream starts now.
Hey guys, it's Adam Belansky and welcome back to MSP+OS. And I'm thrilled to, again, another week, Tuesday, thrilled to really host today's session focusing on the transformation integration services here at MSP+OS. Really the pillars to enhance the enterprise value and operational excellence in your organization. Right, today I'm going to be joined by Parker Kaback. He is our VP of Transformation and Integration Services. And, he's really the forefront of cutting edge technologies within our business and the frameworks that he actually produces for our clients. And, Parker's expertise not only drives the technology achievement, integrity and data, and that's really, really critical when you talk about reporting and so forth. But beyond his professional capabilities, Parker is based in Panama, and I absolutely love hearing about that, and is known for racing cars when he, professionally when he was 16 years old. So before he even had a license, he was racing cars. So without further ado, I'm going to bring on Parker. How you doing, man?
Hey, Adam. Good to see you, man.
Good to see you. Looks like my bandwidth is cutting out a little bit, so hopefully I got backups or something happening on my back end. So let me just pause that. Every time I start a live feed, seems like my computer decides to go back up. So
Same here.
So Parker, really let's talk about your journey. I want to know what's been instrumental in shaping kind of your role today, really dealing with integration, and can you share kind of what initially drew you to that?
Oof, you're gonna make me feel old. If we go all the way back in time, when I first got out of college, I moved to San Diego, California, and my first job was selling subprime mortgages in the Valley. And it took me about 3 months before I realized, what I was really doing, and I got pretty uncomfortable and started looking for another opportunity. So I found a very innovative healthcare staffing company. Back then they were called Access Nurses. They're now named Aya Healthcare, and it was a startup. And the owner was this very innovative 30-year-old guy. And when I first came in, I was doing recruiting, and he pretty quickly realized that I had an aptitude for technology, and he was the sole owner. So there was no big brother or board that he needed to get approval from, and he was very aware that certain technologies were going to create a huge advantage, competitive advantage in a pretty old school style business. So he started investing really heavily in tech, and I got involved in that and ultimately led the software development department. We opened an office in Costa Rica, which is how I ended up in Panama, to dovetail that story. But the office in Costa Rica was basically intended to run the applications that we were creating to make the staffing process, credentialing the nurses, securing their housing, paying their leases, automated and efficient. So that was, I guess, what really sparked technology as a career path early on.
Nice. And so throughout your career, there's probably, I imagine there's been some pivotal challenges. You've been all over the world as far as, from New York to Panama and all that stuff. So it's like San Diego. What have been some really pivotal moments in your life or experiences that really helped shape your approach to integrations and transformation, the role that you have today?
Yeah. So after Aya Healthcare, I started a small app dev company in San Diego called Techovia, and that's where I first became aware of what an MSP was. So our one of our first clients was an MSP in Escondido that supported real estate agents and real estate agent offices. So through that experience, I ended up working with multiple MSPs in Southern California because they had a heavy appetite for app dev. And I think the most pivotal moment, I could single out one, was my business partner and I at the time had a different vision of where the company should go. He wanted to build product, and I was interested in providing tech services as a service. So I ended up merging with one of my largest clients at a very pivotal time when my partner and I didn't align on what the future was going to be. So I joined an organization called K&R Network Solutions, which was a San Diego-based MSP, and I started out just running the software division, and over time, I was honored to become a partner, and ultimately, all of the engineers rolled up to me and stayed very focused on automation and innovative solutions in the MSP space.
Really, really cool. And so thinking about your journey, thinking about those different things, upon joining our team as a founder of Delta Vita, coming in, and you had your own, your own strategy, your own vision for kind of what you saw. How did that align to the mission of MSP Plus OS?
Um, the part about MSP Plus OS that was really resonated with me, it's really about the commitment to providing value. So, what makes a client interested in receiving service, especially repeat services or stay with you, is you have to deliver value. And that was something that was really clear early on in my discussions with you and the other partners. There was a mind share there and a kind of a similarity in approach and understanding what's really important. It's easy to kind of fake it, and a lot of consultants especially do. And what I really gravitated towards was everybody had the same principle that the service has to deliver value to the customer in order for this to work.
Yeah, and that's really, really key. And so I want to really delve deep into the specifics of your current role and the services that you offer. So, Parker, can you explain kind of the framework you have around transformation integration services here and what its key objectives are?
Sure. So I always point to four things that are really important in transformation services. So the easy one that everybody immediately gravitates to is cost savings, right? So if you have multiple redundant vendors, you're obviously hemorrhaging some money, because if you concentrate the spend with a single vendor, you get better pricing. Most vendors are um, have a price break based on usage, basically. So that's the easy one that
Yeah.
everybody sees. The other ones are less obvious. So one is operational synergy within your organization. So if you think about, it's very hard to have unified process when you're using different tools to do the same thing. So for example, if you have 4, 5, 8 different backup vendors, managing backup is challenging enough, and it's really hard to do it when you have 8 different products. So that's the operational synergy. The third one that I think is really important is the accuracy of your service delivery. So just like internally, it's challenging to have uniform process and to have a shared team and synergy between your internal resources. When you're disparate across your tool set, it also impacts the accuracy of your service delivery. That's 3. And then the fourth one, which is, now I think becoming more front of mind for people, is security. So I sound like a broken record sometimes, but number one rule in security is reduce defensible surface area. So the more stuff you have out there, the more stuff you have to worry about, maintain, manage, to stay safe. So those are really the 4 pillars or reasons why integration is important.
Yeah, and so day to day really sounds like it's tech stack alignment, right? And
Mhm.
I'm just curious how you and your team minimize that downtime and also mitigating those risks associated with that technology integration. So you maybe talk a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I think it's really important to not only be an expert on the tool, both the surviving or destination tool and the source and origin tool, but you also have to become very intimately familiar with the customer in order to achieve what you're talking about, minimize downtime. I like to think of it like an airplane flight and turbulence. So if you want an enjoyable flight, you want to have as minimal turbulence as possible. So the better your understanding is of what exists, the more successful you can be at planning the future. So you have
Yep.
to understand a lot of nuance about not just the difference in maybe feature sets between source and destination tool, but also the nuance in how that particular customer is applying that tool in their business, and how it's being utilized, and what the underlying major purpose is, and what's important.
Yeah, for sure. And so part of those things, right? There's a lot of services that you offer and a lot of things you do day to day. And I hear a lot of success stories from all of our teams, but you work with a lot of PE firms, and so
Hmm.
success stories are really incredibly powerful, especially at scale, right? When you're
Hmm.
talking about the clients that we work with, when it comes to that, you work on the enterprise space, so these are 200 plus users to several thousand employees
Hmm.
accounts, right? Can you
Absolutely.
give us an example of maybe where your strategic integration significantly enhanced, the client's operations, mitigated their risk, and also more importantly, because PE firms really want that enterprise value, affect the financials in a positive manner. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure. An unfortunate reality in our space is that technology is porous, and occasionally there are breaches or exploits. It is not a secret that on-prem Barracuda devices a couple years ago had some exposure, and we had a client that needed to move to their new product suite, so they wanted to stay with Barracuda, and Barracuda came out with a new platform called Echo. And the significance of the project was it was actually achieving a couple of those pillars in one move. So one was they needed to get off the legacy technology in order to reduce their exposure to a known risk. And the other was just centralizing their services. It was actually a quilt of many previous acquisitions who were all on the legacy product, and the PE, the enterprise behind that consolidated MSP, was very interested in improving all of the things we touched on before. They wanted operational synergy, they wanted improved accuracy in service delivery, they wanted to reduce the risk with the exploit, and they also wanted to achieve some cost savings. So I think that particular project is a great example where a provider came up with a solution to address an issue, but our customers needed expertise and manpower in order to get there, in order to achieve all of those things. So that's how we helped.
Awesome. And so part of how you help is also I love hearing. I don't think I've heard it yet, but your team is very well diversified as far as geographically. So you have,
Yes.
talk a little bit about your team, where they're located and all that. I mean, this is awesome.
Sure. Yeah, we have people in the continent of Asia, over in Pakistan. We have some folks here in Panama with me. We have stateside resources based on previous lives and previous MSPs and previous businesses who are in California and New York. So
Yep.
really, we're location independent, and I like to think of myself as one of the first digital nomads before that was an expression.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, you were literally living it, and all those Latin American countries and all that stuff. I love seeing your stories and your travel stories and all that stuff. Look into the future a little bit, right? Your
Mhm.
team is diversified. Obviously, COVID hit and so forth, and we're already a remote workforce already. So,
Mhm.
but besides that, what trends are really seeing influencing the realm of transformation integration? What are you seeing in the industry?
Yeah, great question. So, a couple of things. One is a flight towards automation. Everybody is interested in squeezing efficiency, especially out of new technologies. And the specific new technologies that I see are integration tools. So things that connect things is a way to say that. It's evolved. It used to be thought of as like middleware. Well, it's more than that now. And companies more than ever, their suite and their service offering is actually a collection of products that are sewn together. So if you can improve how they're integrated and stitched together, you can really improve the experience both internally and for the customer. Another example is with, I mean, it's a buzzword, but AI is out there and people are looking to capture, the leading edge of that technology to improve their efficiency and their client experience. So I think going forward, especially over the next 3 to 5 years, there's going to be such a heavy emphasis on becoming as automated as possible, as efficient as possible, but without losing the human touch, and that kind of boutique feel that larger organizations struggle to maintain and hold on to as they scale.
Yeah.
So I think really the next 3 to 5 years, those are some of the trends that I expect to be incredibly impactful.
It's gonna be big, and Sean Lardo and his father Keith Nelson always joining us, and really love to see AI plus automation equals efficiency. That's a
True.
good point. Yeah, it's very, very true. So Parker, kind of working with those teams and understanding those trends and so forth, and that transformation, that enterprise value is really, really critical.
Hmm.
And M&A is becoming a bigger and bigger play in the market space. And
Yes.
with those upcoming shifts, right? How are we preparing as an organization to be able to innovate, be adopt, and be in front, the forefront, and continue to drive that value, ensuring data integrity, mitigating risk for our clients?
Yeah, well, one thing that may seem obvious, but sometimes isn't, you get better at stuff the more that you do it. So through at bats and through practice, you develop refined process. You improve your tools. You improve your approach. So one of the ways that we're really preparing to service that part of the market where the consolidation is happening is leveraging our previous experience and then translating that through everything that we do, which includes the tools we use, the processes, our approach, how we communicate. I'd like to think that you get better every single time. So now that we've had dozens of experiences in our core service offerings, it's very different than maybe the second or third time we did it at the 60th one. So, we've learned a lot along the way, and trying to maximize the return on that education, I think is how you prepare.
Oh, for sure, definitely. And so, Parker, today's discussion really around that has provided some insights into the critical role you play around the strategic transformation and integration play within in maintaining and enhancing really enterprise value
Hmm.
for our clients. And so I want to say, you're really your forethought and your foresight into kind of what is really valuable, and the way you articulate those is really, really awesome and amazing. And because you deal with significant projects of sizes that I'm like, how do you manage that, right? And it's been really invaluable, and I love seeing us grow and continue to do this stuff and really navigate all these complex and modern tech landscapes that we're having to deal with. It is massive, and
Hmm.
so this is the really bright spot in our organization as far as there is a significant amount of growth. There's more PE money flowing into the space than there ever has been, and that's
Hmm.
that's our specific clientele. And so I just thank you for being on this, part of this MSP Plus OS Unplugged, sharing your knowledge, your perspective on things. And thanks, Keith and Sean, and other audience members here that are leaving comments and sharing our video. right? Next Thursday, I get to bring on another key enterprise value business partner, Mike Williams. It's literally Parker's, buddy from way back, and so it's been awesome seeing those two businesses grow. Really, so we're going to continue exploring the people that are behind the scenes, that are providing the services that drive our success. Until then, keep striving for operational excellence, enterprise value, and strategic growth. And with that, peace out. Enjoy the rest of your week, and see you on Thursday at 12 Pacific time, 3 p.m. Eastern. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Adam.
Bye-bye.